true crime. So if you like true crime, you're in for a treat. Courtesy of Lil. Says this video sucks. We all get to blame her and laugh at her.
More true crime all the time. Now let's jump back into today's case. I am really digging these. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Wait, why'd she change them? Those were hot.
Again, not the actor, but a 25-year-old man from Michigan.
He looks like a... Bro, he looks scary. Watch this video. I lived through this IRL, so I don't need this video.
Is described as being joyful and always having a smile on his face no matter what the situation is.
It's like that's what Tish is gonna look like when he's older.
Or what
Leave
life
him alone.
throws at him.
Oh, I thought he was the killer.
Also described as being very spunky. He didn't conform to what everybody else
Chat, stop. He's a victim. Oops.
Did and really marched to the beat of his
Sorry.
He grew up in Michigan and he was always very close with his family.
He's a
and his
king.
Friends, and he would surround himself with them all of the time. He was also a very creative.
Bro, we're so aggressive. We just went straight to roasting him. Oh, he's dead, you fucks. Rest in peace.
Person and was drawn to hair from a very young age and eventually became a hairstylist, which he had been doing for almost 6 years at this point.
I hope nobody has to go through that. It's been really hard.
More than 24 hours has passed since Carl and Pamela Bacon found out their beloved son, Kevin, died after he went missing.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
They look like sweet parents.
Didn't know until on.
That's so sad, bro.
Will come to it. Yeah, just do see him.
Carl and Pamela remember their son as a sociable guy who loved.
He looks like a sweetheart. I feel like he gives great hugs.
Doing hair.
Kevin was a kind-hearted person who enjoyed.
And trust me, chat. So back when I used to get fades and stuff like this, my barber was bald. He's a bald dude. His name was Ishmael. He was dope, and he'd give me the sickest fades. I'll have to find a picture. Bald barbers are always the best. I don't know why. They're always the best. You spoke highly of. Like, guys with no hair can do hair so well.
His life, his work. He was a very good hairstylist. He had a natural talent for it.
Meantime, a GoFundMe page has been created to help with funeral expenses. It even caught the attention of YouTube star Jeffree Star. He donated $20,000.
Rare Jeffree Star W? Fellow Swiftie.
The family says all expenses have been covered.
It's all overwhelming.
Exactly, Jordan.
It's really appreciated. Yeah, that's why we decided to come out and say thank you to everybody.
On Christmas Eve 2019, Kevin left his home around 5:15 p.m. to meet a man that he had just started talking to that same day on an app called Grindr.
Oh, God. Why does the fucking logo look so sketchy? It's a mask.
Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Grindr, it is...
Well, everyone in here, I'm sure, is familiar with it.
Is a app that I believe it's only for males. Maybe it's for all genders, but I think it's only for males, or it was.
Grindr. Is it only for males? Tish is in here. Potty.
Back in the day when I knew about it, but it's for men to meet on, whether they want to date, whether they want to hook up. It's been said to kind of be a hookup thing, but whatever.
Doing hair? Exactly, Rose. Good idea.
That's what it is. So he was extremely excited about this and was even texting his roommate about the plan, mentioning that he wouldn't be home until way later and that the man that he was meeting up with was going to invite some people over and it was going to be sort of like a party. And
that's so scary. So I've never used the dating app. I've never used any of these apps. It's so scary to think that, like, especially for some people who might be more like, what's the word? More of a target, more vulnerable, more targeted, more of an easy target than like myself. Meets random people on these apps and meets them up without seeing them, talking to them, like, oh, we've been in this dating app and people just want to fuck. That's all they care about is like a sexual angle or whatever. And like, it's just kind of scary. You like meet a random stranger. That's why if I ever use an app, we'd only meet them in public. These are small towns too, 5 to 10,000. Yeah, guys, stay off of dating apps. I was lurking with what's happening. We're watching a true crime video. So basically, thus far, this guy was murdered and killed. They found the body. They've donated, and they're trying to figure out who it was.
And told his roommate that if his mom called, just
dating apps are an L.
So as far as his roommate knew, he would either be coming home very late or possibly early the next morning.
And where we're at now is he's going on a date that he met on Grindr. Oh, wow. I've only had Tinder just to bully men. Cringe. My parents met on a dating app. Cringe. Not just murdered and killed, just wait. Well, we don't know that yet, Lils. I'm just filling in what we know thus far.
Morning. Just 1 hour later, around 6:20 p.m., all contact from Kevin stopped completely. This wasn't immediately alarming to anyone, especially his best friend and roommate specifically, since he had told her what was happening, and it was the first time meeting these people, so most people probably would put their phones away to make a good first impression and be, completely present.
Yeah, bro, I do that, but I see a lot of people don't do that anymore. Like, people don't consider, like, phones out at the table rude, or, like, phones when you're talking to someone rude. Like, if someone's having a conversation with me, like, I won't be on my phone. Or if I'm at the dinner table, I won't be on my phone. If I'm having lunch with someone, like, I won't be on my phone. Or if, like, we're driving in a car, it's just me and another person in the front seat, I won't be on my phone. Like, I was just raised, like, when you're with someone and, like, you just, I don't know, that's weird. That's so nice. I try not to be on my phone when I'm with people as much as possible. I hate being on my phone when I'm with people. Like, when I'm with someone, I want to, like, fucking talk to them. I'm already sick of my screen.
And involved. But the next morning,
so I'm
Christmas
not cringe.
morning, Kevin never showed up for Christmas breakfast.
So nice.
Everyone immediately knew that something was wrong because Kevin would never in a million years miss Christmas breakfast with his family on purpose.
Christmas
they were
breakfast?
Way too close, and Christmas, like for many people, was a very important family holiday for him.
Thank you, Brett.
So his roommate agreed that this was unlike anything Kevin would do, and told his parents what he had told her that he was doing the night before, meeting that new person.
I do mine for work.
So once they knew that the last time he had actually been heard from was when he was meeting somebody that he met online, they immediately...
How many of you guys have met strangers online? Like you haven't, like, for example, for example, me and Cloud meeting up would be different. I've known Cloud for over a year, going on 2 years. But, like, someone that you've never, like, you met on a dating app and met that day. You met on an app and met that same day, like some of these dating apps. Like, bro, some of these dating apps, people get on them and, like, they find a date for that night. Oh, no. A lot from Tinder and Bumble. No, never. Me twice. Oh, not that day. Okay, or you met them and met up with them within the same week. On Bumble? BMO. I'm sorry. Never use a dating app? Okay, yes. Yeah, like, that's insane to me. I can't speak now. You're not getting auto-modded, Lils. It's going through. Sometimes it gets broken. I promise they're going through. Nope. Lils happened to me the other day. I don't do it anymore. I was in my villain era. You're about to be in your victim era doing that, Uda. End up like this.
Filed a missing persons report. Kevin told his roommate what he was doing. However, he had been...
I got auto-modded in someone's chat the other night, and then, like, every message kept giving me that I kept getting that little...
Pretty vague about it. He never told her any specific names or the place that he was going.
What up, Tish?
And I think many of us knew this, but this is why it is so important to always let somebody know exactly where you're going and who you're meeting with, because unfortunately, especially today,
never go anywhere where nobody knows where you're at. Always make sure at least someone has a general idea of where you're going and where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, speaking of Tish, we were just talking about you.
Things like this happen all too often.
Sorry, Tish.
So since they had no idea where to look or even where
Kevin's
phone was
bullet.
to get that
That's
information,
crazy, Rose.
it made the next steps in the case very hard for his parents, his friends, and the authorities. That same day, Kevin's car was found and abandoned near Seymour and Miller Road in Schwartz Creek, and his phone and his wallet was inside the car, as well as a bag of clothing, which I'm guessing was more than likely in preparation to spend the night out somewhere. But the strange thing that was missing was the key to the car. There were no signs around the car or the area of the car with a sign of struggle or any signs indicating where Kevin could have gone. Kevin's family immediately feared the worst because not only would he never skip out on Christmas breakfast, but there was absolutely also no way he would go anywhere without his wallet or his phone.
Bro, here's my biggest question is, when people kill somebody, like, do they not have, are they really, like, that dumb? Like, they don't have, like, a fleshed out plan? Like, even if, like, I murdered someone in the heat of the moment, like a crime of passion, that I wasn't planning, it wasn't premeditated. Like, I feel like I would still, like, flesh out, like, a better cover-up than that. Like, they found the body super quick, they found the car, they found the keys, the wallet. Like, bro, what? What was before it happened, guys? Lils, is this a cold case? No. I love true crime, so I set myself up for situations like this.
It was way too unlike him. Kevin's family...
I've had sex where his car was found. Wait, what the fuck?
And authorities organized a search for around the area that the car was found, as well as other areas. And simultaneously...
Well, this one seems premeditated. I don't know yet. So I'll catch you up, Tish. This guy was meeting up with a secret lover that he met on Grindr, and he's been missing, and no one knows where he's at.
They were working with Grindr to try to get any information from Kevin's account on who he was speaking with or where he may have been. Now, Grindr was apparently extremely unhelpful and uncooperative in handling this case and handing...
Grindr wouldn't help out?
Luckily, they were able to get into Kevin's phone and access the information directly from there, since Grindr proved to be no help directly.
Telling people.
Just 3 days later, on December 20th...
She's bragging about the crime, gloating in it.
...the home of 50-year-old Mark Latunsky.
It was this guy? The source herself.
They showed up to the house to do a wellness check on Kevin and make sure that he was there and alive.
What the fuck?
This is who he was meeting up with that night.
He was meeting up with him for a hookup? This was my grandpa before he died?
Unfortunately, what authorities found out next was something disturbing and something that they never could have imagined. Upon entering the home and arresting...
That's crazy. He went for a hookup and he got fucking murdered.
Mark. They found Kevin hanging from the rafters of Mark's home by his ankles. His throat was cut and he had stab wounds to his back. His genitals had also been mutilated.
Holy fuck! If I never leave my house, bad man. Like, older, secure man. The project is complete. Holy shit. Poor guy. Fuck kind of murder. Let's go. Jaw drop. Who hates gays? That's fucking insane. Bro, I be watching all these, like, gore videos on Twitter now that keep popping up of, like, people getting, like, randomly shot by strangers, like, cars randomly, like, malfunctioning, or, like, people, like, bricks randomly falling from the sky, just, like, insane, weird things that happen to, like, people, and it really does make you paranoid to, like, go outside, like, what, who said they don't even go outside? But, like, yeah, even, like, for a while when all those movie theaters were getting shot up, like, bro, I was sketched out to go to movie theaters. Now, like, even dating apps, like, you can't even trust someone on a dating app. Like, to not fucking kill you. Get them all the time on Grindr. I got punched by a dude from Grindr. I'm officially becoming a hermit. Bro, I couldn't sleep when I see vids like this. Just get off Grindr now. I've been seeing more gore and harm videos. I'm like, I'm good inside with my games. Dude, Tish, let's start. Senpai, send me the Twitter account so you see. So I'm not gonna lie, dude. Tish, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Sorry, I punched harder. I have a whole folder with videos and clips from Twitter of the most insane ways to die, of people dying on Twitter. Low key, I want to see them. I do share them with people who want to see them, but it is pretty fucked up. I know. I have a morbid fascination. I never want to see it. Me, it's weird. I don't know why. I saw 3 murders on Twitter. I probably purposely watched over 1,000 just scrolling Twitter videos. I want to see. I felt I have a morbid fascination too.
Mark Latunsky from the very beginning never tried to hide the fact that Kevin was dead inside, and as a matter of fact, he began giving authorities even more.
This is the reason why I think I enjoy it, and this might be the reason why you too. It's not necessarily the gore, the harm. It's not that it's entertainment for me. It's not that I'm enjoying it or even laughing at it. I think it's interesting to me to see the most taboo and bizarre human behavior. The most to see the human condition at its absolute worst. To see a human's to think and ponder on what made this human turn into this monster. There's this video of this dude just fucking putting an axe in a dude's head, and the dude just falls over and he just walks away. It's why? It's how did he get there where he's able to do that and then just walk away? By the way, it's shocking to watch.
More horrific information about what had taken place in that home. He very proudly and honestly claims that after killing Kevin, he mutilated his genitals and then ate them.
He ate the genitals? Facebook Live.
He was immediately arrested, like I said. And Mark claims that he was simply acting out a sexual fantasy of Kevin's. He claimed that they met.
All right, chat. We gotta chill and chat. You guys can't type all that out.
Car was later found. He claims that Kevin got naked, put on a blindfold, put on earmuffs, ankle restraints, and wrist restraints. He then says he drove to his home in Bennington Township with Kevin in the back of his van and covered with a blanket.
Like how like this is what I'm talking about. Like, how did this guy get so fucked up? Might be. You just gotta be careful with what you type, because stuff you type out can always be traced. But like, bro, like, how the fuck can this guy's like either his hatred for gay people or his like insane fetishes or urges or like sexual deviancy become so bad where it turns into this? Sorry, no, you're good.
After what Mark claims was a consensual sexual encounter, Kevin apparently suggested about how they could make his body disappear, and also admitted apparently to having thoughts of taking his life in the past. Now let's remember this claim made by Mark, because it's going to come up later again. So Mark says that he then stabbed Kevin once in the back of the neck below his hairline, and that once he realized that he wasn't dead, he decided to cut his throat so that he wouldn't suffer. He claims that they had an agreement, this agreement stating that Mark would end Kevin's life and utilize his body. He disturbingly goes into great detail on just exactly how he planned to utilize
an agreement.
Now I want to give you a warning. It is absolutely sickening.
Chat, trigger warning.
Using the bone meat to plant tulips, his intestines to...
He was going to make IRL bone meal from Minecraft. So sick.
Grow peach pits or chestnuts, and lastly, his muscles to make jerky. After the murder and after Mark was arrested, the U.S. Postal Service actually intercepted a package for Mark
of bone meal. It was an agreement. Muscle jerky. Well, you guys remember the guy? You guys heard of the dark web? There was a forum called the Cannibal Cafe, and most of it was just Discord and 4chan weirdos going on there and fantasizing, making up stories about eating people. But two people on there actually met up, and one of them agreed to actually be killed and eaten. Like, they saw the text, they saw the messages where he's like, yes, please kill me and eat me. I want to be eaten. I want to be eaten. And all this weird fucking shit. Because some people were into getting eaten, some people were into it was weird. It's fucked up. And, I mean, the police still charged him for murder and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Possible this is a fake. Well, this one probably is, but that one was actually real. Like, it did happen in Germany, Dees, you're right. I don't believe Kevin wanted to die at all. Like his story, like queasy.
It contained a dehydrator inside of it. The entire town was not only heartbroken over the senseless murder of Kevin, but absolutely astounded and terrified that something so gruesome had happened in their own backyard.
I'm not surprised, because listen to this, chat, and don't look this up, but there are 2 websites that I won't name, only because I know some of you are fucked up and you can go look at them. And they are truly probably the worst websites I ever looked at as a kid, and I wish I never would have. And they're still up right to this day. And nowadays, they're just full of fucking, like, gore films that make Twitter look like Cocomelon videos and, like, insane racism and transphobia. No, you don't want to go on them. Creators don't talk about them for the simple sole fact to not give them any clout. Like, these are the worst websites to exist. Like, they dox people all the time. Like, they post creators' information. They're literally like websites with no rules. And there's 2 of them that are pretty popular. And if you ever find yourself on them, it's pretty fucked up. Yeah, I think Jordan might know. Jordan's in that world that's been targeted by some of those websites. As far as like that world of creators knows about them. Miner is acting goofy, man. I'm missing all the juicy details. I'm sorry. But anyways, so, what was I saying? Fuck. What was I just, hold on, let me repeat this, because it's something to this.
Terrified that something so gruesome had happened in their own backyard. Mark had grown up in...
Oh, yeah. So, anyways, but on one of these websites, they have different categories. Or like, think for the 100 bits, Barbie. So much. They have different, like, forums to talk about different things. And one of them was just for people who were into, like, and they actually were into it, like people, like, eating pieces of them where they would still survive, though. Like, that was their fetish. Like, they would let someone actually consume and eat and kill them if they could. But, like, they were like, invite people over and like let it like literally eat pieces of their body. You know what I mean? It's like some dark web shit, basically. Pause. I'm sorry. It's not a good website. Please don't visit. It's charged with crime eventually if you use it and visit it. That's iffy, but you could be. It depends on how you use it, not if you just visit it. Oh no.
In that same town, his entire
My
life,
pause game is always
all the
terrible.
much scarier and surreal that someone that they had
if we're talking about the
known,
same one,
and in some cases even called a friend, could be so twisted and evil to the core.
Shiawassee court records released today indicate that Mark Latun.
I've never ever heard anyone being arrested. If we're talking about the same site, I've never heard anyone being arrested for just being on the site. If you use it for like illegal activities, yeah, like if you dox someone or do some fucked up shit. But if you just have an account, what did I miss? Oh, yeah. I say, because I made an account on that website when I was like 12 years old, and I'm pretty sure it's still there. I mean, I don't know the email for it. I don't remember the account name. You probably get blacklisted or whatever.
Who is now accused of Kevin's murder, told police how he killed and mutilated Bacon's body. We want to repeat the warning that the details are gruesome.
And the craziest way how I found it, that website, Chad, this is how I got exposed to all this shit. When I was like 12 years old, I was playing World of Warcraft, and I met some guys who I'd always play with, and they invited me to join. At that point, I don't know if Discord was around or if it just wasn't popular yet, but we used something called Uvu, and it was basically voice messaging, like FaceTiming through a computer, but also like big chat rooms. OG Uvu. And so they invited me to an Uvu group. I don't know if you guys remember those. And I was in this Uvu group with these guys, and they're all like these like 30-year-old dudes. And they showed me these websites and shit. Uvu goes way back, I know, yes. Not Uvu. Yeah, and like these like 30 or 40-year-old dudes I played World of Warcraft with, and I was like 12, 13 years old. I remember I told them I was like 16 or something. Would show me all these terrible websites, these terrible links, and fucking women, and bro, they fucked me up so bad as a kid. What up, Nia? Welcome in, everyone. I've been on the internet for way too long, for real, Sam. I saw stuff like this back on Tumblr.
Investigators say Latunsky admitted to stabbing Kevin and hanging him from the rafters of the ceiling in his Bennington Township home, then removing certain body parts.
Is there a video of his confession?
And consuming them later. While disturbing revelations hurt the family, they
Happy
say this is not how they want people to remember their son.
He was a good person. He was compassionate.
Pretty good. How's yours?
He cared for the people he met. Cared for the people he worked with.
And he loved everybody.
And he loved everyone who
he came in contact with and everything.
The family says the outpouring of support from everyone has been tremendous. Today they expressed their gratitude for the prayers, donations, and memories shared.
And Kevin's family is also thanking the community for painting this block behind me in his honor.
The block sits on 12th Street and Hammerberg Road in Flint. Police say Kevin met Latunsky on a dating app. Kevin's family hopes that this tragedy is a wake-up call to people that meet strangers online.
Mark's home was auctioned off just months later, in February 2020. And while some people found it impossible to imagine living in such a place, others almost made like a spectacle out of it.
Guys, for real, be fucking careful meeting people through these dating apps. Please. So heartbreaking to hear. Yeah, for real, be safe.
The interviews of people discussing living in the house were honestly very tone-deaf and very hard to watch.
It's a nice looking house. It's a brick home. It has textured steel shingles on it.
But there's something that will come up. I do a video, but needs to be shared to save lives of others on dating apps.
A little cupola up on the top of the roof. Looks like there might be a couple acres or so. It's a little different because it's kitty corner from a cemetery.
Now this home's selling for $101,733 and some change. The four bidders not even able to see what it looks like inside.
I am friends with someone who actually cleans up bodies and doesn't mind the glore, and neither.
Did she say the glore? The fuck are these people have pizza? These are people trying to buy the house.
Cleans up bodies and doesn't mind the glore, and
the glore.
And neither do I. I'm fully down, and I heard that the house had trap doors inside of it.
Fully down? I'm fully down for the gore. That's so fucked up. They just want it because it's a serial killer's house or murderer's house?
A third-party bidder flying in from Las Vegas, with the Shiawassee County Sheriff's Office not able to share any information on what the house will be used for or who bought it. The possibilities are worrying neighbors like Michael Parks, who lives just down the block.
I was hoping it was over with, and unfortunately it's probably not. So maybe if there's a new
Someone
chapter.
was brutally murdered because I wouldn't think of the entire time I was there. I told you this was a sick ordeal.
Take over and all this kind of gets forgotten. That might be good, but if it gets turned into something as like a tourist spot because of this, I don't know that I'm in favor of that. I don't think it should be glorified.
This case was still very recent. Has gained some new popularity once this Netflix special Dahmer was released, because Mark Latunsky has been called the present-day Jeffrey Dahmer for obvious reasons.
Wait, did he only kill one guy?
While learning and hearing about the twisted murders by people such as Dahmer or Mark.
Another thing I want to bring up, isn't it crazy how, like, back in the day, like, serial killers and murderers would get away with so much more? Like, Dahmer, like if you guys have watched any of those documentaries and stuff like Dahmer, Bundy, all these different people, like, could have been caught so many times, made so many mistakes, had so many fuck-ups, or, like, the police just didn't care, or, like, oh, whatever, it's a bad neighborhood, or, like, oh, it's just, you know, like, for example, like, it's just a gay couple arguing with the whole Dahmer situation, they let the kid go back with him. Like, isn't it crazy? But, like, nowadays, like, you go missing, this guy was literally, didn't come back one night, next day they go and find him. It's because it's institutional fuck-ups to the police, dude. I wish we could have active cold case serial killer, like, I don't know, yeah, just wait. You know what I mean? Because, like, think about it now, like, and I know this from experience, like, there are obviously a lot more than you even think there are more. Whatever you're thinking, there are more of this. Murders that go unsolved and no one will ever know about, or people will never know murder, like, they'll just never know that person was murdered. That happens a lot more than you think. But also, a lot more people don't get away with murder than you think. So it goes both ways. So, like, you think, like, most murders are probably reported, kinda, but then also, like, the likelihood of you getting away with a murder is also, like, slim to none. People try to buy the Amityville murderers' houses. No, people buy murder stuff all the time. Someone bought Ted Bundy's Volkswagen, his Bug. You know that? I'm sending you a link. Do not open it until it comes up in the video. Oh, yeah, there's definitely one-time killers out there. Oh yeah, there's fucking thousands, millions. But yeah, they auctioned off Ted Bundy's Volkswagen Bug that he used to pick up girls and commit the murders with. They auctioned it off. His body bought it.
That the victims were real people with full lives and futures ahead of them.
People
they loved and cared for. And
yeah, for sure. You probably have. 100%.
Events can happen so easily to anybody.
For sure.
And technology, such as social media and dating apps, arguably makes it much easier.
Yeah, I feel like the internet is a huge tool for, I guess in this case, criminals, but in this case, murderers, people who look to do ill as far as your life.
Even when Dahmer was at the height of his killing spree.
Killers.
Mark was charged with the murder and mutilation of Kevin's body,
I don't really believe
but
in stuff, though,
unfortunately, the trial was put at a standstill almost immediately. Mark was arraigned on December 20th via video chat. At the beginning of the arraignment, the judge, per usual, begins by verifying who the person is. But for some reason, Mark claimed that he was in fact not Mark Latunsky.
What?
He was actually a man named Edgar Thomas Hill. And he claimed
that
Mark Latunsky was his nephew. He even signed as a different name in the court documents. Now, this threw everybody for a loop, because people have seen people try to act insane and crazy before, but, like, this was different. He was taking on a whole different identity. People in the community, as well as Kevin's family, immediately began wondering, did something happen? And is this even the same man arrested that day? Investigators immediately reassured everyone that yes, this is the same man arrested on December 28th at the home of Mark Latunsky.
I don't know.
The
judge
I don't believe
carried on with the activity, so I have no opinion.
Ordered that Mark be held without bond.
A Shiawassee County man has been charged with the murder of Kevin Bacon, who was reported missing when he didn't come home Christmas Day. Mark Latunsky was arraigned this afternoon on charges of open murder and mutilation of a human body. He was arrested Saturday after police say they found Bacon's body at his home in Morris. But as Kylie Kahn reports, the man who appeared in court today says he's not Latunsky.
Sir, are you Mr. Latunsky?
No, my name is Edgar Thomas Hill. Mark Latansky is my nephew.
And he signed another name to court documents. The judge didn't delve into that. He simply continued with the arraignment and ordered Latansky held without bond.
I've seen those too.
The police have definitely identified who he is. They've dealt with him in the past, and this is the same person they arrested on site. And they have not left his custody at all.
Mark Latansky was charged with kidnapping in 2013, but the charges were dismissed after several competency hearings.
His next scheduled court date was set to January 8th.
What? Did I hear what? Pause? What am I pausing for? What am I to hear? Dealt with him in the past?
His public defender, Doug Corwin, claimed that they were going to seek insanity due to what Mark was saying. He also claimed that Mark was living in a false reality and was delusional. He says that he truly believes he is somebody named Edgar and that he thinks that he is a descendant of a royal family in Wales.
He believes he's named someone else. He believes he is from a royal family out of Wales.
That's cringe.
And just the nature of the crime itself, you've got to send him for this evaluation.
In addition to all of this, Mark has a history with what seems to be severe mental illness and competency issues. I think knowing this...
Bro, this might spark a debate, but listen. I don't, like, sometimes, bro, like, yeah, you're crazy, I get it. You're out of your mind, but... Listen. You fucked up. And we can't forgive you. You know what I'm kind of saying? I'll give it a shot, but the family speaking against me made me not watch it. I mean, there's been a lot of families speak out against a lot of different things. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, don't watch it. If it doesn't, watch it. I don't think it matters. To avoid jail time, go into a psych facility. Well, psych facilities aren't much better. I'd say they're better as far as safety, but you're still living like a very miserable experience.
Background, which we will discuss more in depth next, is so...
I don't know. I feel like sometimes like people who claim insanity on some of these heinous crimes like this, you just don't need to fucking play with it, bro. Like, who cares?
So heartbreaking, I'm sure, for the family, knowing that if he was in prison for anything he had previously done, Kevin could still very well be with them today. I also think it's absolutely ridiculous if you're competent enough to reel someone in and viciously murder them, you're competent enough to...
Yeah, exactly.
That's my personal opinion.
Like, bro, he was on Tinder trying to get this guy over and have sex with him and do all this stuff, and now, like, what? Deserves jail time? They never have that in our house. I'm lost.
So the judge decides that due to all of this talk about mental health and Mark's competency, to order a competency test, and he was sent to the Center for Forensic Psychiatry to possibly determine and diagnose if there were any mental health issues going on with him. Based on what was found, two things could have happened. He could be found competent and the trial would continue, or he could be found incompetent, which would lead to them holding him for a year and reevaluating his competency once that year mark is up. So if the doctors at the center find that Mark was in fact insane at the time of the killing, then there are two more options. He would still go to prison, but would be given extra mental health help, or if he is found not guilty due to reasons of insanity, he would be held at the forensics treatment facility until they deemed him better, and then he would be taken off to prison.
Damn. I could never.
Mark's public defender, Doug Corwin, asked the judge to add charges of assisted unaliving and claimed that Mark was telling the truth about Kevin wanting to help him kill him and dispose of his body. But the judge thankfully dismissed that entire thing.
People just don't know how to control their urges. This is just a possible chance.
February 4th, 2020, the Center of Forensic Psychiatry announced that he was not competent to stand trial.
What?
They started a 15-month treatment plan where they will be continuously testing his competency and treating him over the next 15 months. And unfortunately, this delayed the trial. October of 2020, after several months in a mental health facility, Mark was deemed mentally fit to stand trial. So on October 23rd, 2020, Mark was arraigned on murder and mutilation charges, and a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf.
Not guilty?
So remember when I told you to remember the claims that Mark made about how Kevin wanted his help in dying and, getting rid of his body and all of that? Mark's public defender brought up that an antidepressant was present in Kevin's bloodstream at the time of
What? So just because he was on antidepressants, he wanted to be fucking mutilated, hung upside down, murdered, and have your cock eaten? What the fuck, bro? How recent was this? I'm sorry, like, what?
Again, claimed that Mark was simply assisting Kevin in his plans. Thankfully, based on the text message exchanges between the two on Grindr, we see that Kevin seemed very happy and not at all discussing wishing to be killed or end his own life. It was a huge reach bringing that up, not once but twice, in my opinion. During this hearing, the Michigan Police Department went into detail about finding Kevin's body. They also claimed that when they arrived at Mark's home, he answered the door shirtless and in a brown leather kilt.
That's crazy. I know, right?
The room they found Kevin in was a disguised.
He was shirtless in a brown leather kilt. I mean, I don't think that's
room
a problem
inside
here.
The basement. The room was filled with chains and sex toys, very much insinuating that this was some kind of violent, kinky thing for Mark.
Kevin Bacon's murder was shocking, grisly, and ritualistic, and new details coming out in court today
this is wild.
Painting an even more disturbing picture of what may have transpired inside Mark Latunsky's home.
Pulled my head back and exclaimed, "Oh my God, oh my God." And that's when Officer Wirtz asked me what was wrong, and I told him to look.
The naked body of 25-year-old Kevin Bacon was hanging from the ceiling in a hidden room of Mark Latunsky's home.
A hidden room?
Robert Viviano discovered the false wall that hid the scene. Chains and sex toys were inside the room. Bacon's
a false wall?
Upside down above a trap door.
So the trap door
so
had
sad.
been lifted in an upright position, which exposed the ground.
OMG.
So Mr. Bacon was directly over the dirt.
Sergeant Detective James Moore with State Police interviewed Latunsky,
oh my God.
where he admitted to cannibalism after stabbing Bacon.
He went upstairs. He saw that, in his words, it was a new moon.
What I just come into?
And as a result,
watching a true crime tonight.
Latunsky stated he normally eats Rocky Mountain oysters, and instead of using the oysters that he had in his freezer, he decided to use the testicles of Kevin Bacon.
Latunsky even...
What? Instead of eating oysters, he's like, I'll have testicles. What the fuck?
Photo. It was submitted to evidence. A forensic analyst found Bacon's DNA.
Isn't cannibalism illegal even if it's consensual? Yes, Tish, it is. Super casual of him. I'm gonna be sick. I think so, too.
In the skillet, and Latunsky's on the handle. Detective Moore also revealed to the courtroom the suspected murder weapon.
I'm holding a knife that was located.
Big, say for the gifty. Fucking love you. Thank you so much.
The forensic analyst found a DNA
match
to Kevin Bacon and Latunsky's DNA on the handle.
470 trillion times more likely if the DNA from the swabs of the handle of the knife came from Mark Latunsky.
It seems as if this kind of thing wasn't uncommon from Mark either.
Crazy.
Neighbors of Mark claim that one evening in November, a man knocking on his front door.
What? So now, thanks so much, Barbie. So now, not only did he fucking murder someone, have him hanging from the ceiling upside down, the neighbors had a bloody man run up to him and beams with 500. Guys, thank you so fucking much. Barbie the other 50. Jesus. Chat is going crazy. Thank you so much for the 500 fucking bits. Play the link you sent me.
Charlotte County 911.
I was trying to get away from some creepy guy. He had me tied up in his basement.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm trying to escape from some guy who had me chained up in his basement.
What? If they're too much, I'm not gonna watch it all. Could be TOS, so I'm saying.
I went to my station usual, taking a ride, and I'm not even going to sound insane. I'm here in Detroit. I'm from New York, and I met this guy at the bus station usual, taking a ride, and I'm not even sure where I am.
Well, I get what you mean. I get the point of it. TOS. Don't play TOS. How is this TOS? This just proved that it couldn't be the first time he's done it. It didn't. No, there's no pictures in it. I looked. That's what I was scamming through. See, the picture came up when I accidentally hit that. See.
Broke out of this fucking basement, and I need a ride. Okay. I'm in trouble. I can't even find my way back to his place.
Terms of service.
I don't know.
Thank you, though, Jordan.
My signal. I'm from New York. I'm walking down the street with a picture knife, sweetheart. I need help.
Okay, I'm gonna get you help. Are you walking down the street right now?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm passing a barn. It's all beautiful here. I can't believe it. I don't know where I am. I don't know. Like,
dude, imagine some dude just straight up tries to murder you in his basement. You're just like walking away from like where you were almost fucking murdered on the phone 911. Holy fuck.
I never ever had anything like this happen. I just want to get out of here and I want to go home. I don't even care about the legal case I was here for. I'm sorry, I can't help them. I want to go home.
Okay, all right. And listen, I've got help on the way.
Jesus.
I know. We went out to the car. We seemed like a nice guy. He points outside like he wanted to talk. I go, nice guy. He put my wallet was in my hoodie. I met this guy in here. He seemed like a nice guy. He points outside like he wanted to talk. I go outside. He goes, oh, well, how you get your stuff? I went over myself.
He's going to put it down when he sees you approaching.
After me.
Casey, I need you to go somewhere safe. If you can, basement, just 60 days. You can start off for Tyrell. Just
so fucking wild.
For the subject that was chained up in someone's basement just fled the residence. He's out on foot.
After me.
He's after me?
I need you to go somewhere safe. If you can run up to somebody's house.
This is failed police.
Where are you at right now? Are you able to get away? Where are you at?
What's your address?
Let me can I talk to whoever you're talking to?
Kevin was from the same city. Holy shit, bro. You can hear him talk in the background of this call.
He said that the man was in distress, saying he has purple hair, he's wearing a leather skirt, and he has a couple of belts across his chest. Help me. Keep
what
him
the
away from
fuck?
me.
Purple hair, the leather skirt, and belts across his chest? Holy shit. He has like a murder outfit he wears?
The neighbor further claimed the man was screaming in sheer terror, he wants to hurt me, he wants to kill me. Michigan State Police allegedly arrived at the home just minutes later and took this bleeding man with them. But sadly, no charges were ever filed against Mark for that incident.
What?
And this is once again a scenario that could have stopped Mark from taking the life of an innocent person just 1 month later. And it also kind of feels parallel. If you've watched Dahmer, you know there was the boy who escaped, the neighbors intervene, they call the police, yet Dahmer is free to go and actually takes that boy back.
Now I see why.
Him. It's very similar here. Not only could it have been stopped for future victims, but it's just horrible. So police looked into these claims and found that there were in fact at least two other men besides Kevin that Mark met on Grindr. They verified that on October 10th, a New York man born in 1973 fled Mark's home, jumped a fence, and called police after becoming frightened about a consensual sexual encounter.
What the
police
fuck?
report was filed. Then they also verified that on November 25th...
Dude, imagine... I don't want to bring that up, but like, that's crazy to think like a sexual encounter, like you go to hook up with someone and it just goes so bad. Cause like I've been on dates, not like a hookup, never been like a hookup, but like I've been on like dates and to do different things and like they didn't go great and like I left or like, all right, this didn't work out. But like one that was so bad you had to flee the house, like you had to like things took such a nasty turn in that once you entered the home during the Netflix and chill or what the fuck was going on, you flee. The first time, fuck 12.
29-year-old man fled the home and ran to the neighbors claiming for help and claiming that he had been chained up in Mark's basement, verifying this neighbor's story. But once again, no police report was filed. The 911 call was later released, and knowing what could have happened is just chilling. The first one is a little hard to understand. But the absolute terror in his tone and voice is absolutely unmistakable to me.
You did, bro.
This is going to sound insane. I'm here in Detroit. I'm from New York, and I met this guy at the bus station who offered me a ride, and I'm not even sure where I am, but I broke out of this fucking basement, and I need a ride. Okay. I'm in trouble. I can't go back to his place if I wanted to. I don't know if you can take me on signal. I'm from New York. I'm walking down the street with a picture knife, sweetheart. I need help.
Okay, I'm going to...
We already watched this part,
Ways
chat.
away, though.
Okay.
I will stick this on the guardrail as soon as I can tell nobody's walking behind me. This is the second vehicle I'm seeing tonight.
Or in this
and
stuff,
I'm
good Rose.
Because if it's not, I'm going to be really scared. I'm flagging down whoever this is. So if this is the maniac, you're going to hear some crazy shit. I don't know.
My bad,
Pips. This is
Pips.
a cop because that looks like an extra bright light, so I am now putting this down.
Okay.
I am sorry, I'm not...
Is that you're in, okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and talk to the troopers there.
Okay, so
right.
hang up.
Yep, you can hang up with me.
Okay.
What is happening?
All right. Bye-bye.
Investigators further found out.
This is just a true crime video talking about a crime that happened, Brett.
That the police had been called to Mark's home about a dozen times in the last decade.
Damn!
Mark Latunsky had been married. His husband was interviewed after Mark was first arrested, and people began to wonder if Mark had shown any signs leading up to this horrific event of what was soon about to happen.
He was married?
His husband, Jamie Arnold, claims that he and Mark had separated back in September, but that it wasn't finalized yet at this point. So from now on, because he says they were separated, we're going to refer to him as the ex-husband. Jamie lived in the home with Mark, and that same home where Kevin's body was found. However, like I said, they were separated, and apparently had been for a few months. So he was not living in the home at the time that Kevin's...
There's no way he didn't know about it. Husband, wow.
...body was found. Jamie said that the reason they separated was because he couldn't handle his husband's lifestyle anymore. The couple had been married since 2016, and he claimed that many times he would come home from work and there would be another man in their home, and that Mark would try to get the three of them sexually involved, but that each time this happened, Jamie would make dinner and then just go to bed. He said this lifestyle is ultimately what caused him to want to separate from his husband.
When asked if the last time
he saw Mark, he said on Christmas. He said he had a few friends over and he invited Mark because he didn't want him to be alone on Christmas. Now at this point, remember, he picked up Kevin on Christmas Eve, so Kevin was already in his basement and most likely dead at this point.
What the
but
fuck?
Jamie says that Mark never showed any signs of anything being wrong when he was over there on Christmas.
So, dude, he had killed a guy, left him in his basement, and then went over to someone's house for Christmas.
He then explains in the interview that the Monday before Christmas, his car broke down, causing him to use a rental car. He further explained that it was costing him a fortune, and when Mark offered to take his rental car back and let him borrow his own on December 27th, he obliged. He said that he dropped Mark off that night at around 10 p.m., and that Mark never invited him inside, so he just dropped him off, took his car, and left. It was the very next day, on December 28th, that Kevin's body was found in the home.
Nobody should have to go through this. No parent should ever have to.
Damn. But how do you not know there's a sex dungeon in your basement? Like, how do you not know there's a trap door in your house, sex dungeon in your basement when you're married for like 6 years? You buying that?
Jamie Arnold talking about the parents of Kevin Bacon. 25-year-old Bacon was found murdered inside what was once Arnold's permanent residence in Bennington Township, a home he shared with his husband, accused killer Mark David Latunsky.
It's somebody who, when you met, was this kind, gentle soul who turned into this monster. You don't want to believe it.
He says he can't believe his husband is charged with murder and mutilation in Bacon's death on Christmas Eve. Arnold says he separated from Latunsky in September and moved out of the house because of his husband's lifestyle.
One time I came home and there's somebody there, and he tried to get me involved, and it was like, you know what? I'm going to make me dinner. I'm going to go to bed. That's why I had to get out. So I had to get out. I couldn't.
This dude looks like my best friend's fiance. Shake my head. We're missing out on a horror movie. Bro, does this guy not seem sus? You know, it's like, this is why he came home with someone, I just ate dinner and went to bed. Knew they were men over, but at this point, Mark was harming them.
Take that lifestyle anymore.
And when's the last time you talked to Mark?
I talked to Mark on Christmas Day. I had some friends over, and I didn't want him to be alone, so I invited him over Christmas Day if he wanted to come.
Okay, so...
Damn.
He arrived there in the afternoon, I don't know, sometime around 1, 2 o'clock.
So they were separated.
He appeared to be normal. He never exhibited any signs that anything was wrong.
Jamie said Christmas Day was the last time he talked to his
crazy.
husband, but later told me that his car broke down the Monday before Christmas and he had to get a rental car. He said he had
interesting, so he changed his story.
Had no one to call for help.
On Friday the 27th, he was here to take my car, the rental car back. It was costing me a fortune. And he said, hey, you know what? Why don't you use my car? There's a truck.
Is he wearing eyeliner? Yeah.
I'll get that fixed up,
Bless
and I'll
you.
drive that,
Thank
and you can drive my car until your car is fixed.
Did you take Mark back to the house on that Friday?
Yes, I did.
Thank you,
Did
guys.
you go in
Thank
the
you.
house?
I did not. I dropped him off at 10:30 at night.
I
He
hate
came back home.
Susan.
I had to work the next day, and he never once said, hey, why don't you come in? He just got out of the car, left, and I left.
Kevin Bacon's body was found the following morning.
He's like, as of the car, he left, I left.
Jamie says he was interviewed by police. Michigan State Police told TV5 they cannot confirm if Arnold had been interviewed by investigators, but did say there are no other suspects at this time.
The police told me that if they thought I was involved, I would have been arrested by now if I was under any kind of suspicion.
Why would you think that people would think you're involved?
Because of social media, because of what's out there. All they know is what they see. I understand. They see pictures of us together. They see that we are married, that we live in the same place. They don't know that I left. They don't know the reasons why I left.
Arnold says he never
I don't know if
met
I'm
Kevin
buying
Bacon, and he doesn't
I mean,
understand
my
how
own
or
home that
why
I-
this
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't. He's sus, bro. He's guilty of something.
happened. He says he's coming forward to proclaim his innocence and clear his name.
If you're in hiding, you're guilty. Or if you're in public, you're guilty. If, you know, what you say is guilty. Why would you have him over to your house on Christmas? Well, because he was somebody I cared about, that I didn't want to be alone on Christmas, because
Like the way,
stopped
like,
loving somebody.
like the way he's like pitting himself and he's like, how did you stop loving somebody? Like, he did something.
Do I love him now? The person he was 5 years ago, this person.
Yeah, they were married for 6 years. How did you not know there's a trap door with a sex dungeon in your basement? You never like walked around the house like, hey, Mark didn't leave. I wonder where he's at. And like he might have left the house and then he just pops out of nowhere. They only married for 3 years. The harm didn't start until they separated. Rip Kevin. Probably the freakish together. He feels guilty. See, here's what I feel like. This is the way he's wording everything. He's wording icon what he's saying. He didn't know anything. I think he did. I think he was definitely because he was like because the way he's talking about like his lifestyle became too much. He brought people over, but I didn't want to get involved with it. I think she interpreted it as them getting involved sexually, but I think he didn't want to get involved with the more deeper, darker BDSM stuff. So he backed out when it did start to get to that murderous point where Lils is right. But he knew that it was going bad. He knew about the sex dungeon. He knew about all that shit for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think he's guilty of. I don't think he was like down there helping. But he knew his husband had like an insane BDSM problem.
No.
Jamie claimed that the police investigated him and interviewed him, saying that if they thought that he was involved at all, he would have already been in jail.
That's what I'm
thinking. That wasn't good enough for many Reddit users and the rest of the internet. Many people began posting photos together and said that there was no possible way that he wasn't involved or that he didn't know the person he was with was so crazy and mentally ill. Now, in my personal opinion, Jamie's interview was one of the most genuine and heartfelt interviews that I've seen in a while.
This girl, okay, can we trust her now? She just threw her credibility out the window. That was the most sketch, sus interview I've ever watched. Like, everything about that gave me that he was hiding something. Am I tripping, chat?
He tears up speaking about Kevin's parents, saying that nobody should ever have to go through that heartbreak and have to bury their child. And to me, he even seems a little bit desperate when discussing how people are posting their pictures all over social media, as if that makes him guilty. They were married and they lived together.
Bringing up that shit, talking about the social media. How do you just stop loving someone? Oh, like the dramatic, like, yeah, nah.
Of time. So of course there will be pictures of the two of them together, and that it doesn't mean he is directly
like if you're truly not guilty, you're not gonna be doing this.
Involved in any of this.
Like going on TV
he
and shit.
He seemed upset and said that he isn't the Mark that he knew and loved. Lastly, because I don't want to get too on a tangent here, people who are seriously mental ill and twisted are masters at hiding it. Think Ted Bundy. He worked at a crisis hotline for people who were having these thoughts about taking their own life. And he had a girlfriend of many years. He also had a child at home, and nobody ever suspected a thing about him.
Yes,
Sometimes
they did,
the
though.
Scariest people are those who do hide in plain sight. And Jamie was not only a failed marriage to Mark.
She took a fat L.
Emily Latunsky married Mark in 2001, and they had 4 children together.
Wait.
They then divorced in 2013.
There was an Emily first?
Emily claimed that he had a history of not taking his prescribed antipsychotics. And according to Emily's court filings, Mark on multiple occasions kidnapped his own children by not following the custody plans.
Holy
he
shit.
kept her and her children from leaving the home. And lastly, he apparently made insane claims that she and her brother were trying to murder him by poisoning a well. Mark was arrested for that in 2013 based on court documents for kidnapping 2 of his 4 children and refusing to return them to their mother.
Getting divorced when after you have kids is such a terrifying thing to me. Like, if I ever have kids with someone, bro, like, fuck, that would suck to get divorced.
Back in February of 2014 and was ordered into outpatient treatment in May of 2014. He was deemed competent in January of 2015, however, the case was dismissed a month later. So now that we have discussed his marriages and the potential warning signs that he presented, let's go over his history of mental illnesses. In 2010, Mark was diagnosed with severe...
A list? Bish said, let's go over his list of mental illnesses. It's not fun at all. I'm invested. Motherfucker said, alright, now next we'll go over his list of mental illnesses. Sounds like some of you motherfuckers in here. Got a damn list.
Recurrent and chronic major depression with psychotic features, adjustment disorder with depression, and anxiety with paranoid schizophrenia and borderline personality.
God damn!
He had been admitted to the hospital 4 times for mental health concerns. In 2013, according to a police report, he introduced himself to police as William Gregory Dean and actually claimed that he killed Mark Latunsky with the stroke of a pen. He also pretended
he's Light Yagami?
Unconscious when police found him lying in his father's home. So let's recall that Jamie and Mark married in 2016. Jamie claims that it wasn't until 2019 that he even became aware of these mental health issues. But in February of 2019, he was fired from his longtime job as a chemist due to his erratic behavior.
He's a chemist?
He accused the place that he worked for of contaminating the products that he would make. He also began saying that the children weren't his and that his neighbors were contaminating their water. And in July of 2019,
he was
Mark
crazy.
For failure to pay child support, and he spent 4 days in jail. In August, Emily filed a motion to suspend Mark's parenting time, claiming that he was off his medication. The hearing for that case was scheduled for December 10th. On October 23rd, a bench warrant was issued for Mark for not paying child support. However, it is unclear when he was
never paid his child support.
Regardless of that, he was arrested on December 10th at the parenting time hearing. But unfortunately, he was released the very next day. Unfortunately, it was just 2 short weeks later that Kevin was killed. Earlier this year,
you know what sucks, chat? Like, for real, and I don't understand. Like, why do, like, for example, like, look at your life, my life, anyone's life in here. Yeah, it's hectic. Yeah, it's crazy. But like, imagine like there are legit people whose lives are just in and out of jail. Like their whole life, they're just in and out of jail. Insane in the membrane, something like that. Yeah. You can imagine that. Like, just your life is just constantly in and out of jail.
And the county prosecutors fought over what evidence should be admitted at trial. It was also argued during this hearing that the past encounters that men had with Mark should not be used in trial. However, the judge ruled that the evidence could be used.
At first blush, the other 2 gentlemen's accounts might seem similar enough under the requisite Vanderbilt analysis. But that is because the government is relying upon its own judgmental views and misapprehension of BDSM. Now, while that BDSM may be viewed as an unorthodox sexual practice, it does not include homicide, and it certainly did not include any of the other acts proffered by the government.
True. Chat. Hot take. BDSM does not include homicide.
When looking at each piece of evidence, this court must evaluate the other alleged acts in light of the following standard. The evidence must be relevant under MRE 402, must be offered for a proper purpose. MRE 404B And the probative value of the evidence must not be substantially outweighed by unfair prejudice.
Nope.
Of course, the government has the burden of proving all these elements. Mr.
In a
Sorry.
The case was delayed.
That was making me sleepy. No homicide, count me out. Chat. That shit was reminding me of like a college lecture.
Attorneys seeking another mental health evaluation. His attorney, Mary, claimed it was necessary because his mental status had been deteriorating in recent conversations. In another court hearing in May of 2022, Mark was once again found competent to stand trial. The judge's ruling came after testimony from the doctor that evaluated him at the time. So now that we've covered a bit of this case's background, let's discuss the most recent updates and why this case is regenerating in the media.
Wait,
extremely recently,
is it not settled yet?
Mark was in court for a plea hearing. Mark pled guilty to open murder and mutilation of a body, despite his attorney advising him not to. And honestly, this came as quite a bit of a surprise to everybody.
Wait, he pleaded guilty now?
To stabbing Kevin in the back while the two were in his home.
Going on, or was? Oh shit.
Mr. Latunski, on December 24th, 2019.
Oh shit.
Were you at 703 West Terrell in Morris, Michigan?
Yes, I was.
To your knowledge, is that in Shiawassee County?
Yes, it is.
On that date, were you with Kevin Bacon?
Yes, I was.
Did you use a knife to stab Mr. Bacon?
Yes, I did.
Did you know that stabbing Mr. Bacon with a knife would most certainly create a very high risk of death or great bodily harm to Mr. Bacon?
Yes, I did.
Damn! Just admitting to murder. Bro, he's probably sick of it. Imagine, dude, if you really think about it, like these people who are on trial, like they have to sit in jail for years and years. Like this guy, when did this happen? 2016 is 2023. And he's been sitting in jail, just waiting to hear how long he's going to be sitting in jail, which I assume is probably life.
After Mr. Bacon was dead, did
2019.
You remove part of his body, specifically his testicles?
Yes, I did.
Did you move those testicles to the kitchen?
Thank you, Nevada, so much.
Did you do so without legal authorization, meaning you were not doing so to embalm Mr. Bacon's body or to do a proper post-mortem examination?
No, I didn't.
Your Honor, I believe that's sufficient factual basis for both counts.
Mr. Kerner?
People are satisfied, Your Honor.
You believe that's sufficient factual?
I do.
Mr. Hardy, do you believe that the court has complied with the guilty plea provisions of Michigan Court Rule 6.302, subsections
Hopefully.
of that court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Kerner. Do you agree with Mr. Hardy?
I do agree, Your Honor.
Mr. Latunski, the court agrees with the attorneys. The court does find you guilty.
I wonder if that just wears them down and like they like give up.
Open murder and dismembering a body, and your conviction now is made part of the record of this court. We cannot, however, give you a sentencing yet because we're not finished. We have to have a degree hearing. And I spoke to counsel in chambers, and we agreed that that degree hearing will be conducted in this courtroom on October 18th and October 19th of 2022.
So Mary, Mark's attorney, had indicated that she wanted to go for an insanity plea. So pleading guilty was highly not recommended here.
Good question.
Nobody is sure why he went with the guilty plea when he
had
the place you want to be.
Not anywhere right now.
So the trial is scheduled for October 18th. Literally happening right around the corner, or already has started depending on when YouTube lets this video go up. He will have a review hearing before the judge, and during this the judge will determine whether Mark is convicted of first or second degree murder or manslaughter. The upcoming hearing works similarly to a mini bench trial. It will include witnesses and evidence put forth by both the county prosecutor and Mark's defense team. Once a decision has been reached, he will then be scheduled for sentencing. And if he is found guilty on first-degree murder, it would mean an automatic life sentence, which personally I think is not only warranted, but I think
did he get a life sentence?
Bet for humanity and the community. He clearly has a pattern and a track record of being unstable. So getting him off the street for good, no parole, no nothing, is like the safest thing out there in my opinion. I don't for 1 second believe that Kevin ever had any thoughts of being unhappy and wanting to do
for real. It's staff of dating apps.
The story and the tale that Mark Latunski tried to spin. But I am curious to know your thoughts on this. Also, not that
I think it's sad, to be honest.
Somebody here who's watching is way more educated than the mass population.
No parole either.
But I want to know why you think certain people are wired like this. Mental illness or not, what drives somebody to not only murder somebody and mutilate them, but to physically, literally consume them and eat them? what drives a
That is a good question. Like that's what I think about some like these like more gory videos. It's like what like there's a difference between having like really bad intrusive thoughts. Like for example, like I've never actually considered killing anyone, and I hope you guys haven't either. Like actually like had a gun in my hand with a finger on the trigger about to kill somebody, right? Never done it. But, and that's a terrible thing to do. You should never ever point your gun at someone. It's just in self-defense. But if you did, like even pointing your gun at someone with your finger on the trigger is a huge deal. But pulling that trigger takes a lot of commitment, takes a lot of crazy shit happening in the brain. But you gotta remember, there's not only that, getting the gun, like there's like so many things to stop you, to slow you down, so many times you have to turn back. There's so much pushing you forward with so much resistance when it comes to something like this. Teens out late for months, we all stayed home, like throwing your pet at the wall, but you never do it because why? I think that might just be a you thing, Rose.
Person to do that. Surely it's not to cover up evidence or get rid of things. There has to be something in as far as like a power control or like I don't know, a trophy of sort. I don't even know.
It's a good video.
So I'm curious, like what do you think drives people to do this? Because this isn't the first and it isn't the last case we're going to hear like this. And like I said, it's very reminiscent to Dahmer, and certain situations actually are quite parallel with Dahmer as well.
Human morals. I mean, dude, if you even like point a gun at someone in a way that's not self-defense, you lack some basic human morals. Like life, psychology depleted. Like life is so fucking like vulnerable and weak. That's what I'm saying. Like I've been seeing these videos on Twitter. Like I saw this one video on Twitter of like just like people dying in those random ways that doesn't look like it'll kill you, it'll kill you. So like to steal a human life. That is like the most, like, that is like the ultimate thing you can do in the world. And not ultimate in a good way, just like the ultimate thing you can do. Like the most impactful thing you can do. And like to get to that point, to feel like you could do that, like just the fucking audacity, the fucking craziness, all the different things. But that's why I'm more interested in killers that aren't like, you know, medically insane, who do it knowing like how evil and bad they are. Like that shit's even worse. You know what I mean? Alrighty.